November 5th. Dearest Kevin, the services have been completed and my brother was laid to rest. It took me 2 hours to write that first sentence because it means that I must picture his body void of spirit enclosed in that elegant coffin resting beneath the soil. I must be sick to have such thoughts, but it is not emotional masochism, rather the realist view of my circumstance, and it is painful, yet true. As much as I would like to think that my letter did not reach him before he was killed, it has not been returned to sender. It also was not with his personal belongings, and there really is no way to know if he had it on his self, as most of his clothing was burnt away by the explosion that claimed his life. I heard that the concussive blast of the bomb was strong enough to instantly kill him, so at least he did not suffer. He was dead in the moment right before the heat reached him. I do not want to think of such horrible details, such terrible trivial facts of our world, but it is a reality, and I must accept them. Accepting how he died, though, does nothing to help me accept his death. He was my brother, and even though he has ceased to be, I still think he is my brother, not was. It is a strange sadness I feel, one that causes me to welcome numbness as an alternative. I mean, to think that all the memories I have of him are all I have left of him, that our conversations, discussions, arguments, and fights are now permanently closed because he will never be able to participate again. The memory of his voice as he said his goodbyes when he last shipped out, that's the last time I ever got to hear him as he was. And that's it. No more thoughts from him. The closest I get to his voice is an old family videotape from when he was 13, and that ceased to be him as soon as he began his growth spurt. And now he's gone. An entire life, a perspective unique and honest, wiped clean from existence, with the exception of the memories of him held in the fleeting and impermanent vessels of his family, friends, and fellow soldiers. We received letters from many of his friends, some from high school, some from boot camp, some he was stationed with. They all spoke very highly of him and wrote of times they had spent with him. I tried to take a cue from those letters and write to you of my memories with the hope that doing such would take away some of the seemingly unending emptiness brought about by his death. But how can I sift through all those times past to select specific moments spent with him? How do I summarize his entire life to my mind's eye enough to bring closure to this pain? It is as though the pain is the reminder of his presence on earth, and I, in some twisted notion of love for him, refuse to let go of that pain. Mama has suggested that I go to counseling. That therapy would help me work through the grief, but I am still functioning. I still work and eat and plan to see you in December, and even will schedule classes in the coming week. I am not debilitated from the loss, but the pain gives me a sobering view of reality, and I feel older now, and with a clearer vision of attaining what I want in life. And what I want is you, my man, my beautiful Kevin. I will book the ticket after I schedule classes and venture into your world with renewed energy to help you reach the ends you desire for our mutual benefit. I know you can bring to life varied and brilliant visual works and help those stories that will improve the world be presented as entertainment to the multitudes. I will help you accomplish that and be by your side the entire way so that once the improvement is set in motion and the world is evolving for the better, we can be together and bring life into this world. To have your children, my dear, will be the happiest of my works. Our little ones will be beautiful and smart and protected and raised to love and be loved. I need to know that we can name our first boy Charles for my brother. I miss him so much, and I cannot fully process that he is gone. Some of my dreams lately have been of him, when I teeter on that cusp of waking and sleeping in the morning before waking, or at night, just as I drift off. I think of him and remember a time in our teens, just before he graduated and enlisted. We walked along the street in downtown on a late spring weekend afternoon, heading towards the shops. I think I wanted to get a journal at the stationery store, and he was going to get socks. He walked me to the door of the store and double-checked that I knew where he was going to be, and he kept looking up and down the block and across the street as though he was watching out for someone or something that would descend upon me as soon as he walked away. I was only a freshman in high school, and during his senior year he had been very protective of me. I had gotten used to his behavior of guarding his little sister, but that afternoon he looked me right in the eyes before walking away and said he loved me. It was something he said with an almost arbitrary air, like, "All right, I love you, bye." We didn't really use that as a goodbye, so it made me a little embarrassed. I think I mumbled a goodbye and went into the store. I never mentioned it to him again, but now I wonder why I was so off-put by it. Why didn't I just say it back to him then? When he shipped out, I told him I love him. I signed all my letters to him with love, and every time I got to talk with him on the phone, I said it, even telling Mama and Daddy to tell him it for me if he didn't have time to speak with me. But why not when it was simple, when the pressure was not on? Why could I only conjure it if there was the chance that I would never see him again? Why not when it was a simple, easy goodbye? See you later, after I'm done buying a journal. I love you too. What if he didn't know that I loved him? I mean, loved him in the everyday, not just when his life was on the line. I've dreamed of him and picture myself telling him that I love him also, with the same casual tone which he used to tell me he loved me. I hope he knows that I do. I did not go to the Halloween party, and I go back to work tomorrow. I am sorry that you got the brunt of this. I am really not a mess over this, but I carry onward. I just need to let out some of this angst so that I can think a little clearer. I love you for being there for me, for the loving emails and calls from you. I will be all right, and we will have a wonderful life together. All my love to you, Veronica.